Welcome to Echo 201. Study Session 3. The Theory of Consumer Demand. Introduction. Going by our interaction in Study Session 2, the laws of demand and supply states that when prices change, quantity demanded and supply will also change. Ceteris paribus. What this law fails to tell us, however, is the extent of change of either quantity demanded or supply to a little change in price. In this study session, therefore, we shall extend our knowledge of economics further to include the elasticity of demand and supply, which tries to measure the degree of responsiveness of quantity demanded and supply to a change in price. Learning outcomes. When you have studied this session, you should be able to 1. Calculate elasticity of demand. 2. Calculate elasticity of supply. 3. Highlight the factors which affect elasticity of demand. Elasticity of demand. Price elasticity of demand. Price elasticity of demand is defined as the responsiveness of quantity demanded to a little change in price. In other words, we are interested in knowing by what percentage demand will change if price is changed by a given percentage. Price elasticity is usually symbolized by the letter N, and it can be defined in the equation form as N equals percentage change in quantity demanded of commodity X divided by percentage change in price of commodity X. This is the percentage change method. The formula can be simplified as new demand minus initial demand over initial demand divided by new price minus initial price divided by initial price. That is change in quantity demanded over initial quantity demanded divided by change in price over the initial change in price, which will therefore give us change in Q divided by change in P times P divided by Q. Negative sign is introduced in the formula in order to avoid a negative solution. In other words, to avoid dealing with negative numbers, we'll multiply the equation by -1. Types of price elasticity of demand. There are various types of price elasticity of demand. These include elastic demand. This occurs when a little percentage change in price brings about a greater percentage change in quantity demanded. That is, the numerical value of N is greater than unity. In the figure above, a little change in price, that is from P1 to P0, has brought about a greater quantity change from Q1 to Q0. Examples of goods with elastic demand include durable goods like cars, shoes, and so on. Inelastic demand. These occurs when a percentage change in price brings about a less percentage change in quantity demanded. Here the value of N is less than unity. Examples of commodities with inelastic demand include salt, matches, cigarettes. Unitary elastic demand. These occurs when a percentage change in the price of a commodity brings about the same percentage change in quantity demanded. In this case, N assumes the value of unity. Perfectly elastic demand. This is also known as completely or infinitely elastic demand. The consumers in this case are prepared to buy all they can see or find at price P1 and none at all at a price slightly higher than P1. It is perfectly elastic since a small change in price will bring about an infinitely large change in demand. The value of N in this case is infinite. Perfectly inelastic demand. Here, a given percentage change in price brings about no change in quantity demanded. In this case, the consumer is perfectly satiated and a change in price will not affect his demand. The numerical value of N is 0. How will you derive the elasticity of demand for bread in the table below? Demand elasticity and total expenditure. Money spent by the purchasers of a commodity is received by the sellers of the commodity. The total amount spent by purchasers is thus the gross revenue of the sellers. Often in economics, we are interested in knowing how total expenditure by purchasers of a commodity or total gross receipt of sellers of the commodity react when the price is changed. If the price of a product falls, there will be an increase in quantity sold. What happens to total revenue depends on the amount by which sales rise in response to a given price cut. Usually this depends on the elasticity of demand for the product. If the elasticity of demand exceeds unity, that is elastic, a fall in price increases total consumer expenditure and a rise in price reduces it. If elasticity is less than 1, a fall in price reduces total expenditure and a rise in price increases it. On the other hand, if elasticity of demand is unity, a rise or fall in price leaves total expenditure unaffected. The simple case of our bread producer can illustrate our discussion above. While the price of bread was 60 naira per loaf, the producer was able to sell 300 loaves, making total revenue of 18,000 naira. However, by reducing its price to 40 naira, he is now able to sell 500 loaves, making a total revenue of 20,000 naira. Thus, for the seller of a commodity that has elastic demand, it is advisable to reduce price in order to increase revenue. Determination of elasticity of demand. Number 1, availability and cost of substitutes. If a commodity has close substitute whose price does not change, a rise in price of the commodity will divert consumers' expenditure from the commodity to the substitute. Hence, its demand becomes relatively price elastic. Examples are butter and margarine, Toyota cars and Datsun cars, etc. However, when there is no close substitute for a given commodity, e.g. salt, housing, etc., a change in their price will bring little change in quantity demanded. Hence, they have inelastic demand. Number 2, necessities and luxuries. Commodities can be classified into 2, necessities and luxuries. Necessities have highly inelastic demand. This is because they are necessary to life, and when their prices rise, consumers have no choice but to cut back expenditure on other products and go on buying the necessities, e.g. salt, pepper, housing. On the other hand, luxurious goods are dispensable, and hence when their prices rise, people will in fact dispense with them Thus, they have a highly elastic demand, e.g., cars, shoes, durability, and time. In the area of time, what is relatively inelastic in the short term will be relatively elastic in the long run. The reason is that there will be an adjustment. Secondly, in the long run, substitute could be developed. Also, while durable goods are price elastic, non-durable goods in most cases are price inelastic. Number 4, habit. Goods such as cigarettes, to which some people are strongly addicted, usually have inelastic demand. Changes in price might not bring about a change in demand. Cross elasticity of demand. This measures the degree of responsiveness of quantity demanded of one commodity to changes in the price of other related commodities. It can be defined in equation as N equals -1 times percentage change in quantity demanded of commodity X divided by percentage change in price of commodity Y. Cross elasticity can vary from minus infinity to plus infinity. Complementary goods have negative cross elasticities, while substitutes have positive cross elasticities. Bread and butter, for example, are complements. A fall in the price of bread causes an increase in the consumption of both commodities. Changes in the price of bread and the quantity of butter demanded as a result will therefore have opposite signs. Butter and margarine, on the other hand, are substitutes. A fall in the price of butter increases the quantity of butter demanded but decreases the quantity of margarine demanded. Changes in the price of butter and in the quantity of margarine would therefore have the same sign. However, in a situation where there is no relationship between two commodities, we may expect their cross elasticities to be close to zero. Income elasticity of demand. Income elasticity measures the responsiveness of quantity demanded to changes in income. Mathematically, this can be expressed as N equals -1 times percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in income. For most commodities, increases in income leads to increase in demand, and income elasticity is therefore positive. Goods with positive income elasticities are normal goods. Goods with negative income elasticities are called inferior goods. For them, a rise in income is accompanied by a fall in quantity demanded. Normal goods are much more common than inferior goods. The boundary between normal and inferior goods occur when a rise in income level leaves quantity demanded unchanged, so that income elasticity is zero. The three phases of income elasticity is illustrated in the figure below. Elasticity of supply. Just as elasticity of demand measures the responsiveness of quantity demanded to little changes in the price, so also the elasticity of supply measures the responsiveness of quantity supply to little changes in price of the goods produced. However, in this paper, we shall focus mainly on the commodity's own price. For this reason, we shall be concerned mainly with price elasticity of supply. Elasticity of supply is defined as the percentage change in quantity supplied divided by the percentage change in the price that brought it about. Letting the Greek letter epsilon stand for the measure of this formula, it will be equal to percentage change in quantity supplied divided by percentage change in price. Since the supply curve slopes upward from left to right, elasticity of supply, as defined by the above formula, will normally be positive. As with demand elasticity, it is best to calculate elasticity of supply by percentage change on the average of the new and old prices and the new and old quantities when applying the above formula. Interpreting supply elasticity. The figures below illustrate three cases of supply elasticity. The case of zero elasticity is one in which the quantity supplied does not change as price changes. This would be the case, for example, if suppliers persist in producing a given quantity and dumping it on the market for whatever it could bring. 2. Infinite elasticity. The supply elasticity is infinite at the price P1 because nothing at all is supplied at lower prices, but a small increase in price to P1 causes supply to rise from 0 to an infinitely large amount, indicating that producers will supply any amount demanded at any price. Number 3, the case of unit elasticity of supply as illustrated in figure 3.10. Any straight line supply curve drawn through the origin has, in fact, an elasticity of unity. How to derive elasticity of supply of Biro from the data in table 3.2. Summary. Price elasticity of demand is defined as the responsiveness of demand to a change in price. There are different types of price elasticity of demand. These are elastic demand, inelastic demand, unitary elastic demand, perfectly elastic demand, and perfectly inelastic demand. Several factors were identified as the determinant of elasticity of demand. These include the availability and cost of close substitutes, the degree of necessity, the period of time, and habit of the consumers. You are also made aware of other types of elasticities of demand. Firstly, cross elasticity of demand, which measures the responsiveness of quantity demanded of one commodity to changes in the prices of other related commodities. Secondly, there is also income elasticity of demand. This measures the responsiveness of quantity demanded to changes in income. Similar to price elasticity of demand, you are also made to understand the price elasticity of supply, which measures the responsiveness of supply to change in price. This is the end of study session 3. Thanks for listening.